Kopitiam Conversations.
This is Kopitiam Conversations. I'm your host, Winston. For the month of August, in conjunction with our Merdeka National Day celebrations, our guest is someone who has served our country at the highest level in the sports arena. To many Malaysians, she is regarded as a hero. This episode, I sit down to talk to our guest, Khoo Cai Lin, who is a former Malaysian swimmer with 5 gold medals at the SEAGames to her name, and has represented Malaysia at 2 Olympics, at Beijing 2008 and London 2012. She holds 4 individual national records and previously part of the team that holds 3 relay national records. Chai Lin is currently in client servicing with Havas Immerse. Okay, good morning, Chai Lin. It's so good to see you again. Right? I remember the last time I saw you, we were in a real kopitiam, not in kopitiam conversations, but in a real proper kopitiam at Bukit Jalil. I think that time you were at a sports center and you were buying lunch or something like that, right? You went to meet some friends.
Yeah, I just finished lunch and I bumped into you.
So you started competitive swimming at around 7.
Actually, I started training at about 5 or 6 years old, but competitive swimming only about 12 or 13 years old.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I didn't really have anybody that I really looked up to when I was younger. It was just more like, forced to go for swimming classes by my mom, and then that's it. And then I trying to figure a way out of swimming class as well.
So, Nurul Huda or Jeffrey Ong wasn't a hero back then or anything like that?
When I was younger, no, because I didn't know who they were. But as I got more involved in competitive swimming, then Nurul Huda and Jeffrey Ong became my idols.
You were a professional athlete in swimming. So, freestyle, right, if I'm not mistaken?
More so on freestyle, mid and long distance.
Mm-hmm. So what is a typical day for a professional athlete like? I'm sure you had to do your weight training on one side, of course, on top of your swim training. But walk us through what a typical day for you would be like.
Okay, so we'll talk about when I was still in secondary or in university, right? So training typically starts at 6:30 in the morning until 8:30, and then we'll quickly take a shower, take a quick breakfast, and then go off to either high school or uni. And then the second session starts at about 2:30 or 3, depending on the day, and then we will either be at the gym and then go to the swimming pool for another 2 hours or 2 to 3 hours of swimming. Or if we're not at the gym, then we go for dry land training, which is basically drills that we do or mimic on the dry land with our swim techniques and whatnot. And so we'll finish about 6:37. And then if I was still in high school, I would have prep at night. And if I wasn't studying, then it would just be like a chill night for me.
Oh, wow. Okay. That sounds
so
like a lot of cardio.
Yeah, true. We usually have prep at night because we don't have enough time during the day to finish our syllabus. So school is only from 9:30 to 2:30. That's it. So whatever we don't finish during the daytime, then we will have extra classes at night.
Right. So what time do you actually turn into bed?
I try to turn into bed 10:30 at 11 max, because sometimes even during prep I can't even concentrate anymore because I'm so tired.
6:30 to about 10:30 to 11 at night. That's actually quite a long day considering the things that you are doing. It's like, wow, how do you manage that?
Yeah.
You're a professional athlete, yes.
Yeah, the first time I joined the national team, I think my first month was really difficult because it was almost training 2 sessions a day and then with school in between. Whereas when I was at club level, I didn't used to train 2 sessions every day.
So you mentioned in your blog that you never really liked swimming when you were young. I reckon it's about age 7 to about 11 like that, because in your words, you always finish last in your races. You mentioned that. I think. Yeah. So do you have to do any adjustment, any changes in your diet, your lifestyle, or even your approach in general over those 4 years to develop the winning mentality, which eventually got you started on the winning ways?
Not really actually, because I've never been very big on diet, so I just ate whatever was on the table at home. Sometimes I'll like sneak a fried ham at school, at our school canteen, because like when you're in primary school, you just want to try everything, right?
Right.
So diet wasn't a major role. I didn't change anything at all, except that as I got better in swimming, a little stronger, then I started to win, and then I realized, hey, this is actually not that bad.
So I believe it was during these 4 crucial years that you found out that you had scoliosis, right? I think it's around this time, or was it earlier?
I think we found out I had scoliosis when I was about 8 or 9 years old, because my mom has scoliosis as well, so she knows how to check for scoliosis symptoms at home. So we do that on a regular basis. So when I was 8 or 9, that's when we found out I had scoliosis, and then the doctor just recommended to put us to continue swimming, because it's a more balanced sport compared to racket sports or golf, where it's like more one-sided.
So how do you actually come to realize that you actually had it? Was it like you started having recurring pain, or did you notice some irregularities with your physiology, like maybe, I don't know, lopsided shoulders, or you feel that your body is slanted one way or the other, and I don't know, maybe it could be a more social thing that maybe some of your friends started teasing you or something like that. How do you came to realize?
So the test that you can do at home is like very simple test. Like you just stand up straight and then bend over forward, and then you look at the back. If it's flat, then it's more or less like a normal back. But if it's like a little hump on one side of the back, then there's a possibility you may have scoliosis, because scoliosis also makes the rib cage rotate. So with the rotation of the rib cage, when you bend over, that's where you get like a hump in the back. Yeah. So when I was younger, no one actually really made fun of me, because I guess kids, I guess because it wasn't really that bad as well. I only started to get made fun of I think later in my teen years. But nobody would really like directly come up to me and make fun of me. It was always behind my back, and then I heard it from somebody else. But at the beginning, it was really tough. Like, when you get made fun of, it's always very tough, right? And then you just kind of get used to it. Or sometimes when you want to fight back, like you just think of a smart way to answer people back. So for me, it was getting stronger in the pool, winning more medals, and eventually just tell people like, hey, I have scoliosis and I can still win. Like, what are you doing? Like, it would just like literally just shut them up, and they won't make fun of me anymore.
That's why I believe is so inspirational about you, because you can still manage a professional swimming career as well as managing your scoliosis. So hats off to you, Cai Lin.
Thank you.
Hey, what made you decide to open up and share to the world about your struggle with scoliosis? I mean, it's a brave and admirable move, because to a lot of people, they probably find this as something that's very personal, very intimate to them, don't really want to share with other people. And sometimes, if they're suffering from this predicament, it's better not to talk about it, don't let people know about it and all. So what made you come up to share your story? Because I think a lot of people may be in the same position as you.
So when I was searching for aftercare for scoliosis operations, there was a lot of studies, but it was from a doctor's point of view, which I felt is not really relevant, because they aren't the ones that are going through the operation. To them, a successful operation might be just fixing the patient and getting them as straight as possible, but from my point of view, is like the quality of life after scoliosis operation, or like what can you and can you not do after a scoliosis operation. Of course, the doctors will give you a booklet or give you information about what or how you should take care of yourself after the operation, but to me, it's not extensive enough, and there was not many point of view from a patient's perspective. So I thought, okay, maybe I should start blogging about it. One, just to keep a record for myself of what I've went through, and two, hopefully, it might help somebody as well. So coming out was actually, I would say, scary and also upsetting at the same time, because I remember the first picture that I posted on Instagram about scoliosis. It was a picture of me from the back. My ex-colleague was the one who, sorry?
I remember that one, yeah.
Yeah. So my ex-colleague was the one who took the picture for me, and then and that was the first time I actually saw the picture of my back from behind, right? Because who knows what you look like from behind except for other people? You only know like what you look like in front.
Right.
So when I saw that picture, I got really disheartened, but I also still wanted to let people know what people with scoliosis go through. So, but at the same time, I was also sad. Like, I was disheartened that my back actually looks like that, and hence why the picture was in black and white. But moving on to my second post, and then like how people commented like, oh, like, thanks for opening up, I'm going through the same thing and whatnot. Then I realized like, hey, I'm not alone, and if I can help somebody, why not?
Right. Okay. Because all this while, as we were back in college, I never really knew you were actually suffering from scoliosis. If I never saw that Instagram picture. So when I saw that, it struck a chord with me because here's a little fun fact. I used to work as a medical rep before, medical representative, and I also sold implants for scoliosis previously. All right.
Oh, wow.
Fun fact, you didn't know that about me, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, when I saw that picture, it's like, oh, okay, it struck a chord with me, and Cai Lin is suffering from scoliosis. Wow, I never realized this. All right, she looks so healthy. She's got this reputation as a professional athlete. It doesn't look like as if you had any ailment or that matter. All right, for that matter, right? So it was like it came as a surprise as well as a shock to me, right? To be honest, yeah. And I think it was it World of Buzz or something like that said that you had a very difficult time because people saw your Instagram and started commenting and passing not so nice comments and all that sort of things, right? I believe, was it World of Buzz or was it?
Oh,
Says, all right.
Yeah.
Not too sure. It was one of these. Yeah. So that kind of like made me on one hand sympathize for you, but on the other hand, it also made me very proud of you because I knew you were stronger than that, right? So obviously, when I saw the article, oh, they didn't know that this is actually a former national swimmer, or at that time national swimmer and all of that. They're making fun of scoliosis during your professional career. Was there a point when you felt like giving up swimming because the pain became like too much or too unbearable?
I don't think I ever thought of giving up because of my scoliosis and the pain. Like, it was more so like, am I going anywhere with my swimming career anymore? Can I still improve and things like that? It was never about my scoliosis.
So what kept you going?
Yeah, my dreams of going to the Olympics. Yeah, so it was just like, at first my target was Beijing Olympics in 2008, and then after I got that, then the next target was 2012 London Olympics, and then followed by the 2016 Olympics, which in the end I didn't manage to make at all.
Right.
And that's where I had to make a decision, like, do I still want to continue swimming or close this chapter and move on in life?
But eventually you made it to 2 Olympics, right? The Beijing one and the London one. Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered surgery midway through your professional career, or do you think that there was too much at stake right then?
It was never a thought to have surgery midway through my career because there was no doctor who could guarantee that I could return back to competitive swimming again. So at the beginning, I already knew I needed to get surgery like in the near future, whenever that would be. But I had yearly checkups with the doctors and just to monitor my scoliosis, and true enough, or unfortunately, every year it was getting a little worse.
A little worse means you had more difficulty stretching or doing certain exercises?
Actually, that's a good question. I never thought of it that way. My worst was actually the curvature was like getting worse. But now that you mentioned, I don't think it really restricted my movement or what I can or couldn't do, because like simple things like squats or deadlifts, it was a huge no for me from the beginning. Because if I do that, like my back will be like extremely painful. So my exercises in the gym were more tailored according to my back needs, I would say.
Now, so it's a perfect segue now that I can actually talk about this. So what were the kind of stretches or exercises you had to do to ease the pain or the tension that scoliosis brought you? Were these exercises any different that was required from, athletes like yourself? Were there any different? So how different was this?
Not very different, to be honest. The only stretches that I needed to do more was for my lower back and my hamstrings as well, because my scoliosis is curved in a way that it pulls my pelvis up towards the back, and then so that's why I have very, very tight hamstrings and lower back as well. So I just needed to do like more lower back stretches and hamstring exercises, stretching, sorry.
So no squats and no deadlifts, you were saying?
Yeah.
Swimming, you need to have very strong hamstring and all, right? Isn't it? So,
yeah.
And still no squats.
Yeah, but then we tailored it to like other exercises. So if I can't do squat, I would use another machine. It's like you're laying down 45 degrees, and then so this is your body, and then this is your legs. So you just lift the weights this way instead of going up and down this way.
Moving on to the surgery that you had in May 2017. Now, you decided to get the spinal fusion operation, following which, after that surgery, you retired from your swimming career. So it's been 4 years since the surgery now. Now, talk us through your rehabilitation process.
So 5 weeks after my operation, I started rehab. It was very tough. Like, I've never felt so weak in my life before.
Really? I saw the photos. You were walking after, 2 days or something like that?
No, you have to, because if you don't walk, that means there's something wrong with the surgery and you need to immediately go back to the OT. So apparently during the operation itself, they ask you, because you're lying on your front, right? Yeah. They will ask you to lift your leg up. So if you're not able to lift your leg up, that means there's something wrong, and they will do whatever necessary on the spot.
Right.
But obviously they don't wake you up to do that. Apparently you do it subconsciously. So I think I started walking on day 2, and wow, that was difficult. Like, even to get out of bed, it was so tiring. So I think the first 3 weeks maybe for me was the toughest. It was like everything was restricted, like even lying on my bed, lifting my arm up to get my water bottle, I couldn't even do that. It was, you never think about these kind of things, like when you sneeze or when you cough, like it affects your back as well. So my first sneeze I had at the hospital, I think was like on the 4th or 5th day. I thought my stitches are gonna rip apart.
Oh.
I was like, because I read about it before. So when I felt a sneeze coming, I'm like, oh my God, how do I stop this? And obviously you can't stop a sneeze. So when I sneeze, my tears are just rolling. Yeah, so rehab started 5 weeks after. I went back to the National Sports Council to do my rehab. So it was almost 2 sessions a day. I'm very lucky because they allow me to stay there in the hostel as well. So I don't have to travel up and down, such a long distance going there and back home. I started off with like really, really light weights, and then like building up my muscles again. And then I think by like week 7 or week 8, that was the first time I went back to the swimming pool, and it was very difficult. Like, things that I could do with my eyes closed last time, I couldn't even do anymore. Like, the simple thing I had to do was kicking. So I had to put a kicking board under my belly to make sure my back is stabilized.
Right.
So I had to hold the kicking board and try to kick, and I couldn't even do that. Like, my balance was totally off, and I'm like, what's going on? And then my rehab coach was like, "Wow, not such a tough Olympian now, huh?"
Why?
But it was
Savage.
it was a good process because like every day I could feel something improving. Like I could feel, oh, this is not as tough as yesterday. Like, oh, this is not as painful. I could stretch a little more, you know. So it was quite motivating actually.
Can't imagine. Really can't imagine that you know.
Yeah, imagine trying to learn how to walk again. That's how it is.
Do you still have to go, you know, to make visits to the clinic, you know, to get a follow-up and things like that? And are you still doing that like today?
So the first 3 years, I have to go back every year just for one regular checkup. So my last checkup was last year it was supposed to be in May, but because of the COVID cases, I postponed my appointment to October, thinking, you know, the cases will go down, but it didn't go down, and in October was way worse, but I still had to go for my follow-up. So I did it then. And then everything was good. My doctor was really happy about it. Right. So my next follow-up will be in 2 years' time. 2 years from October last year. So next year. So after my follow-up next year, and then I'm good to go. Like I don't have to follow up with him anymore. Yeah.
It's done, as in it's done.
Yeah. So basically he just wants to check like if everything is okay, like is my scar okay.
Okay, once you get this done and after a few follow-ups, and it's good to go for forever. You don't need to go back and to, you know, maybe, I don't know, get an observation or something like that, no?
Apparently not.
Excellent. All right.
Like after 5 years they release you.
Okay, release you. Okay, another question relating to this is, when did you realize that, okay, I think this is it, this is the end of my professional swimming career?
So after I didn't make it to the 2016 Rio Olympics, I took a month off from swimming. So that's what I usually do every year. Like I take a 2 to 4 week break from swimming just to, you know, relax, do another sport, or you know, basically just recuperate and have some me time. Right. But after 1 month, I realized like I didn't miss swimming anymore, and like there was no urge to go back to the pool, because before that it would always be like after 2 weeks I would just want to go back, you know. And then after the Rio Olympics, after a month, I still didn't feel like going back, and then my coach said, okay, take some more time off. Right. And then after 2 months, he texted and he's like, are you ready to come back? And I'm like, I don't think I'm ever coming back. Like, you know, like this is probably it for me. And then he just asked like, okay, make sure this is your decision. Like, because you cannot turn back anymore. You know, once you retire, unless you are a sprinter, then maybe you can come back, but probably never to this level again.
And of course, SEAGAMES 2017. SEAGAMES 2017, I saw you at the aquatics arena, and you were doing something like media relations or media management for the swim.
Media management, yes.
Right. For the swim / diving team, right? If I'm not mistaken.
All the aquatic sports.
All the aquatic sports, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you land that role?
It was actually, I think, 3 months after my surgery. So, and I was also looking out for a job at that time, because I've been at home for 3 months, and it was about time for me to start work in the corporate world as well. Right. So I can't recall how, but I met this guy who was running the company. So he was hiring people to do the media management. So there's like the media managers, and then after that we have a bunch of volunteers that help us as well with all the whatever that we needed to do. So initially I thought I was just gonna be in charge of swimming, and then they were like, oh no, you're in charge of whole aquatics. I'm like, so like I don't get to see any sports at all? And they're like, yeah, because aquatics is usually really it starts like way before the opening ceremony, and it ends on the date of the closing ceremony as well. So I didn't get to see any other sport, which I was a little disappointed, but that was my role, so yeah.
Talking about hectic, I'm curious to know the answer to this question. How did you manage to juggle a professional swimming career, managing the pain of scoliosis and the visits to the orthopedic surgeons? And of course, at that time, you could still stay so focused on your academic life. Because I must admit, back then, I didn't know you were living with scoliosis. And somehow you still managed to put in some decent grades for your exams. So I am curious how you manage this. And now you tell me, okay, 6:30 to about 11 p.m. But wow, that seems like a very busy day for anyone for that matter, right? Like,
I guess it's just a lot of discipline. Like when I usually pick my classes in uni to be in between of training. So like if I have a break from training between like 10 to 4 p.m. So that's when I will have to schedule my classes accordingly. And
right.
It was nice of the uni to allow me to pick and choose whichever classes I could do whenever I could as well. But that would also mean taking up many more years to finish my degree, right? Which to me, I told them like I don't really care, because at the end of the day, my goal is still to get a degree and with at least decent or good grades. So they were quite nice about that. So yeah, just try to balance it out. And whenever that I had no class, it was nap time. So that's when I had a little break in between my day.
And you got your degree, if I'm not mistaken, in 2015, right?
I actually can't even remember. 2015, 2016, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere there.
I took a long time. Yeah.
It was getting a bit hazy
I think
now.
5 years. Yeah, I think I took like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I think 5 or 6 years to get my degree.
Eventually you got it, which was excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember saying, okay, this is the final semester for Cai Lin. Wow, okay, wow. Wow,
yeah, and I ended uni with like no friends because everyone had graduated.
You can't say no friends, right? What about all those people who were there in the final semester with you? They are not your friends.
Yeah. I mean, like those that I started out with.
Yeah. So more recently, you are doing client servicing with an advertising agency. So you have moved from PR marketing to advertising agencies. Okay, working in client servicing. How has your sports career helped you in your role within the agency?
I think time management definitely works, and also I would say time management and also juggling between clients and deadlines.
What is one word of advice? Okay, maybe not one word per se, a word of advice that perhaps you want to give someone who may be struggling with scoliosis like yourself, like what you had struggled in the past. Okay, so what is one advice you want to give them, all things considering that you were there before?
I guess try not to listen too much about what people have to say to you or how you look. What is important is that you're leading a healthy life and trying to find ways to have a pain-free life as well.
Okay, thank you so much for your time today, Cai Lin. It was definitely very engaging, a lot of fun talking to you. I am enlightened today, really. After doing it for so many years, I am actually enlightened today with your success story, how you survived the pain of scoliosis to what you are doing now. So it's really inspirational, and of course this is a platform that we want to inspire people, right? So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for inviting me.